Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Another faceless day, but as always, want to be wishing you well on this beautiful start to your weekend, a Saturday morning. Whether you're coming back from a nice late night in good old America right now, or you're waking up for a nice early morning of coffee in Eastern Europe, well, I want to wish you well. Want to be wishing you the best of the best, the happiest of the happiest. And without further ado, let's waste no more time and get in the live scene as Bitcoin actually having a pretty nice move in the overnight session. And let's go look at what's going on. And Bitcoin taking a leg up all the way to 6750 high on Bitstamp right here. Now, this move is coming during a weekend, so I am a little bit skeptical myself. However, with that said, overall, Bitcoin is, this is why I use the moving averages, and this is why I adhere to them, because overall, we've had this golden cross right over here, the green 55 and the purple 200, and Bitcoin's been above all major moving averages ever since then, and to me, that is just a generally bullish setup, which says, hey, it's not really time to be looking for like major, massive directional shorts. Nope, it's time to be holding longs is what it is, and that's exactly what I've been doing. Now, I did go essentially cash on my position later last night, just because I don't like to trade weekends, which now I missed out on like a $200 move, but fair enough. That's a part of the game. Not going to catch everything, and right now just kind of sitting back and plotting. But overall, we are starting to get very, very advanced away from all these moving averages. The lowest period on the board is this red 10 simple moving average, and you can see that we are about almost $700 away from it. Actually, more than $700, almost $800 away from it right now, which is starting to get a little bit more extended. So overall, my thoughts right here are, yes, Bitcoin is certainly bullish, but if I'm going into the lower time frames over this weekend, I probably would be looking for a pullback. The fact that we're having this move evolve over the weekend is unlikely to be a good sign, in my opinion, just because I really don't like to see major, massive moves on weekends. I like to see them being done on weekdays so that the regular markets can trade with it, so that CMEs are open and the professionals can participate. When we get these sorts of moves over weekends, well, it kind of implies the wrong thing, because a lot of the time the weekends are, very low volume, low volatility environment. And the reason for that is because, well, most professionals are taking the weekend off as they're on regular trading hours, with the New York Stock Exchange, or whatever their country of origin, traditional exchange is going to be. So during the weekend, it's very easy to perform these very nasty hunts, and typically what I see on the weekends is you get like a counter trend movement to the next direction. So the fact is that right now we have had a beautiful move up. $300 at the high since yesterday. But I would be a little bit more defensive here. And I know I've been saying that for a little bit of time, but let's bring up the volume profile and show, hey, Bitcoin actually just fucking motorized itself right through this higher value node right here, which, if I pull it back out, you can see that it's, it's not necessarily as anemic as we just kind of represented it as, but right here, this is the kind of time where I'd be more defensive than anything, just because, a lot of people, myself included, been getting long, from 3,900, but really in this area right over here as well, reloading. This is the time, in my opinion, to be taking profits, but Bitcoin overall looking good. Don't get me wrong, this is a bullish setup, but I would be more on the side of looking for a pullback in this region as we do kind of fill out the volume profile a little bit more. So assets typically do like to float towards areas of higher volume profile, but typically, because we did approach this one from the downside, I would be looking for a little bit of a pullback into this area to kind of fill this guy out. So likely probably pull back down sometime over the next week, or sometime over the next week, I'd imagine, back down to the lower end of this higher value node portion, somewhere right around 62 to 6,300, I'd imagine. So that's going to also be confluent likely with the weekly Bollinger Bands, of which we have not gotten a new one. Obviously, we get new weeklies on 8 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday, so still got a day to go. But taking everything off and just leaving the Bollinger Bands on, we're extremely likely to close above this top Bollinger Band. In fact, I would say that it's all but done, because we do have CMEs which have closed for the week. They closed yesterday on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We have actually closed a full-on weekly delta above the top Bollinger Band, which is currently coming in around 5,900. We're very likely to open up this next one above it as well. So that's going to imply continuation. But I would like to see at some point a retest back to test the top Bollinger Band, which is rising extremely rapidly. We saw it from this week over here in late April to the first week of May rise literally from 5,500 to 5,900. So that's a $400 rise, and Bitcoin's only been getting more and more aggressively parabolic right here, actually, all jokes aside. So, another $400 raise on this would put us at 6,300. So, yes, that would kind of be confluent with that top, or sorry, with the bottom side of this higher value nodes that we're kind of stuck in right now, right around here, about 6,300-ish area. So, at some point, I likely will be, I will be looking for a pullback there. Currently, we're trading almost 6,700. So, that will be a significant trade, in my opinion, about $400, which is what? That's almost like in 7-8% trade. Not bad. So, definitely worthwhile. And that's kind of the next thing that I'll be looking for. As you can see that we're really starting to, get stifled by this area right over here. So I don't think that Bitcoin's going to extend this rally too much more before having a real pullback. I'm starting to feel a lot more confident in saying this, just because yesterday, we were coming into the end of the week and all that good stuff. It was on the mind's eye, but now we're starting to actually see some tentacles line up with this, which is exactly what I want to see. But because it is a Saturday, and Saturdays are notorious for, fuckery abound. Although we are breaking major areas here, to be fair. I would be a little bit more defensive, and while Bitcoin's likely to kind of grind this area out around 6,700, the current high of 6,750 to 6,700-ish area, I do think that ultimately we do come back down and base a little bit lower, and then we actually try again to the upside. Overall, this has been a very powerful move. We haven't really had any pullbacks for a few months, actually, going all the way back on over. Going all the way back to February. Really haven't had like a major pullback. I mean, you can consider this over here. That's a 10% move. Okay, so fair enough. I'm being a little bit more, a little bit too literal, but overall, you get my point. We haven't had like a major counter trend happen since really, I'd say February over here. I mean, you had about a couple weeks of just straight down, and then ever since then, it's essentially been straight up. Going over here to the weekly once again. We do see, and again, this is just the beauty of using the moving averages. We see the red 10 symbol cross the upside of the yellow 21 during a consolidation period, and that is just the impetus for breaking this onwards and upwards to the upside. That tells me that the Boston algos do want to respect this cross, and they do want to play it out. And we do see weekly oscillators still actually reaching higher. Weekly RSI is reaching into the bullish control zone. I mean, it is deep into the bullish control zone for the first time since December 2017. A lot of the time, you will see defense around this area. Just by the nature of it being this area, Boston algos will sell it on the first pass. Again, not like it's a bearish thing, but just like taking profits. Really is what it comes down to. A lot of people are going to be taking profits. Looking at weekly Stokes, again, getting up there as well, but they're actually not really even losing momentum. We are quite literally at the exact same area that we were at during December 2017 when Bitcoin was $20,000. So again, historically speaking, this is the time to be a little bit more on the protective side, not necessarily aggressively looking for longs, in my opinion. Of course, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Just sharing what I'm doing in these exact sort of same situations. And of course, it goes without saying that right now, I do want to repeat, I am pretty much flat. I have my account exposed, obviously, but I don't really consider that a position. Although technically, I suppose it is. So technically, I would be a little bit long, but you get my point, right? Anyways, so yeah, hourly right over here, still actually marching its way through, and actually looking at our what's it called, our oscillators here. We saw a beautiful retest of this area yesterday. So we had this in yesterday with the hourly stocks, which have been getting priced actually extremely well recently. And so we were looking at this. We had just broken down and said that we were likely to come down to this trend line and bounce off it. And there you go. Actually bouncing off it perfectly right over here and leading onwards and upwards. So again, just another thing. It's been playing extremely well on these hourlies. A lot of money to be made right there. Hourly RSI. Looking constructive overall. Going to be putting in some sort of bearish divergence relatively soon if we fail to significantly make a higher high here. But again, just kind of in line with looking for a short-term pullback. And I really want to be adamant with how I relate these ideas, because it's very important to decipher the differences between the lower time frames from the higher time frames from the the lower time frames, the medium time frames, and then the high and the macro time frames. Right here when we're looking at an hourly, this is a very low time frame. So if I'm looking for a pullback here, it's only to be just that a minor pullback. If looking at like a medium time frame, like a 12-hour or a daily, well, then we can look at this right over here, and we do see again, Bitcoin looking a little bit more extended, but I wouldn't expect actually don't expect it to stop just exactly here. I mean, this is a pretty powerful dildo, very, very powerful actually. We see 12-hour stocks get way up there. Again, we actually haven't even seen this level. We literally haven't even seen this like aggressive level since March of 2018 to December of 2017. 12-hour RSI, again, constructive here, but the next time that we confirm a local high, and this is what I mean by confirm a local high, we will have bearish divergence. But remember, a lot of, we're nowhere near confirming a local high just yet. Still more damage to likely be done, or at least protruded to be. So that's a thing, is that, looking at these higher time frames, we do realize that this, Bitcoin can very easily take another, these last phases of these parabolic rallies, they can go fucking crazy. I don't feel too comfortable with like calling a specific area. What I feel comfortable with doing is waiting for some sort of tentacle to signal major bearish divergence or something like that, or just a lost momentum. Any of the momentum oscillators is going to be good for this, and that's usually when I start to scale into an actual scalp short. Right now, I don't think it's the time to be doing that. Although it's timing this trade is going to be the key of it, just because I feel like we're going to spend some time, just grinding this area out and really frustrating everyone. We still have a shit ton of shorts to liquidate, although they are starting to let go of their positions. Going over here to Datamish, we do see shorts now below 30,000 open shorts. We have 29,500 open naked shorts versus 18,000 open longs. Actually, longs are paying a significant rate. Look at that. That's 81%, not 0.81%. I mean, you're going to be paying a lot of money to hold $1 million in contract position per day. It's going to be 5,000 or so per day. For shorts, they're paying 0.027%. That's pretty much the going rate. 2,500 these guys are hedged, so it's really 26,500 open naked shorts versus 18 and a quarter open longs. So we do still have that great imbalance in favor of the shorts, but they are starting to let go of their positions. And to represent this in chart format, we do see the first time in about a month, perhaps even more than a month, where shorts are actually letting go of their positions. They're not letting go of their positions. They're being forced out of their fucking positions. Let's be honest here. People have been getting short and adding on to shorts ever since the 22nd of April, and really not letting them go. And during the 22nd of April, right, Bitcoin was all the way over here, all the way at like 5,400. So looking at this, it's a very somber in reality that finally these guys are starting to let go of their positions. And I'd imagine that we'll probably find a nice bounce somewhere when the shorts get down around the low 20,000s and they come more in contact with parity with the longs, because overall we are starting to see them let go of their positions, but that provides some upwards momentum, right? So that's also why I'd say, hey, it's, even if you are looking for that pullback short, remember that that's on more of a higher time frame idea, and so it's not necessarily going to happen like this fucking second. I mean, this fucking second, Bitcoin's bullish, right? So let's go back on over and check out CMEs. CMEs closed the week very strong, very, very strong. They closed the week at 62.90. So extremely likely that that carries on over into spot charts by Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time when CME opens back up. If spot charts are trading above where CME closed, which probably pretty fucking likely, the gap fill is going to be a buy somewhere down around 6,300, which is also going to be coming into contact with that top Bollinger Band from the weekly dollar time frame perspective. So understand that these things are all interplaying with each other, but they're higher time frame ideas, so they're going to take longer for them to actually become actionable. And I mean, of course, should also cover the opposite scenario. What if spot is trading below where CME is closed on Friday? Then likely to be a sell for a little bit of a scalp. But I think that's quite unlikely right here. Bitcoin likely to carry this one onwards and upwards, and we give a little bit of a test down around that 6,300-ish range, and then actually rally off there towards towards our current high, and maybe give a try beyond towards 7,000. Looking at the daily Stokes, we do see them still heading up and getting very, very erect in this range. Again, getting to the to kind of the highs that we've been calling for the past a year, but this was during the bear market cycle. This over here, not necessarily the same sort of overall market, which does offer up a different interpretation of this momentum oscillator. But again, regardless of that, Bitcoin doesn't like to stay in here for too long. So again, just another thing saying on a daily time frame, little bit of caution will go a long way. Daily RSI, again, going to be very easy to create some divergence, but needs to confirm a local high first, and that's not again, that's not happening anytime soon. I mean, it's not even going to be trading for the next couple until Sunday at 7 p.m. But it ain't happening anytime soon is what I'm trying to say. Going over here to the, I think that's about it that I wanted to say on CMEs. Maybe the lower time frames for a second. No, I don't really have anything to say here. Do we have any bearish divergence on this? A little bit. We actually do have a little bit. So maybe consideration when they open back up. But for now, not even trading. We do see 4-hour Stokes on Bitcoin actually crossing down. I believe all time frames below that. Nope. 3 hour is up. 2 hour is technically down as well. And hourly is still up. So we're actually seeing a lot of bifurcation between these time frames. And that's usually what the weekend is for, is to kind of smooth them all out. Going over here to the 8 hour, we do see them getting a little bit weaker. 10 hour getting a little bit weaker. 12 hour still erect. So again, we'll probably have more clarity on this by tomorrow morning's video, I'd imagine, because Saturday is typically just such a fuck day that not really too much dependable information gets out. So let's see what else we got. Do we want to go down to a very low time frame? Yeah, it's a 30-minute right here. Just kind of flagging out again. So, if let's actually talk about upwards targets if this area were to break, which I don't think is likely right here. I think it's more likely that we do not break this, or that we do not head higher from like here, like today, to be clear, like today, literally just today, maybe like sometime next week. But I'd be looking at the next target somewhere around the 200 simple on this 3-day dillo time frame. That's a white moving average right here, and that is currently at about 7,000. Sorry, it's actually 7,069. Great number. So overall, Bitcoin does have some room to run here. The 200 simple on the 3-day dillo time frame is quite powerful, as well as you can see in 2014 when we lost it. That was when you got really beat up to your ultimate red dildo capitulation death. And when we actually took it out right over here, well, that was kind of the beginning, a little bit more of a sloppy beginning of your bullish momentum, but you get my point. The fact is that the 200 simple has actually still got a positive slope, funnily enough. Never even really got a negative slope. It kind of like flattened for a little bit, but now back up and at 'em. So if Bitcoin did approach it, I would be looking for a sell-off as a first reaction. But remember, that's only $300 away from here right now. Bitcoin's pretty fucking close, actually. And here's the thing, and here's something that I've really been paying a lot of attention to, and that's the 3-day jewel. And this is kind of like gauging where this run can go to. I do want to bring the 3-day jewel, which has been damn good at calling major tops and major bottoms. You can see when it flashes red, major tops. When it flashes green, it's only done it twice in the history, but both the bottoms of 2015 and 2019. Anyways, with regards to that, we can actually measure some of these out now. When it flashes red, calling some pretty nasty down moves. Right over here, we got a 37% down move. Right over here, we got a 36% down move. Right over here, we got a 31% down move. You get the point by now. It's a 40% move right over there. So overall, these moves have been pretty fucking powerful. I'm actually debating with myself right now if I want to take a little bit of a scalp short on a lower time frame, but we'll come back to that in a second. Anyways, with regards to that, in looking at this, we actually did flash red recently, but here's the thing. On these last attempts where we had those like 30 to 40% down moves, we saw the light blue also to get really deep into this critical zone, like all the way towards a 90 read, which on this last one, we only got up to an 80, an 81 and a half, 82. Well, we only have one other example of Bitcoin having, the similar, the other ingredients, but only coming in very, very shallow to this area. And that was right over here where Bitcoin did actually flash red and get very so slightly into that area, but only about a 10% down move. Well, we had a pretty damn similar move right over here, right? When we got this one, which was also a weaker signal, about a 12% down move. So, I mean, 12% is like not weak, but in comparison to the mean of what we're looking at, it certainly is. But here's the thing. Look at this. Let's go back to the prior example, right? Going back to this example, we see the signal, a 10% down move, then comes back down, and then we get picked up by this pink oscillator, right? And then it walks it up all the way into a 90 read, and then we get a very nasty, like 35% downwards move right over here. Yeah, about 32.5% downwards move. So I think that's kind of my general idea of what's going to happen over here, and this just gives you another idea of like how long this is likely to take, right? Because this is a 3-day dildo time frame, so each and every tick is 3 days worth of price action. So how much more damage can be done if we walk this light blue back up into this region here? A fucking lot of damage can be done on price action. So I would be in no real rush to like get in the major directional counter trend trade here. I don't think it's just not. It's unlikely to happen like anytime soon. And when I say anytime soon, I mean like in a couple, like a week, not even a week, but like 2 weeks probably. Because again, we need to probably confirm like some sort of a rejection, walk the light blue into there. I mean, it's going to take like multiple ticks, and each and every tick is 3 days worth of price action. So it ain't happening today. I'll put it that way. We do see 3 day Stokes getting way up there as well. Again, they've just been marching their way up like good little soldiers, but an area of contention. Just another thing saying, hey, be a little bit more cautious in this region. 3 day RSI actually make a new high, so we won't even have bearish divergence here. You gotta fucking love that. And again, just a nice healthy move is what it actually says, believe it or not. So I think 7,000 is actually a legitimate possibility. Maybe sometime next week. I don't think that we hit it over the weekend, but I do think that probably next week, after a little bit of a pullback, maybe down to 6,300-ish area, give or take a few bucks. And then I look for another move, actually likely to the upside, as that is what the Trollinger bands, which have been getting price action pretty damn well recently, would suggest. And looking at this, again, we are trading outside the top Trollinger band. So after a little bit of a retest of the top Trollinger band, I'd be looking for actually likely continuation here. All right, so let me go back down to lower time frame, see if I do want to take a trade on this, as is this scalpable here. You can see actually even the hourlies are trending above the top Trollinger bands. Although I don't put too much weight in the hourly. Let's go over here to the 30-minute. Maybe I'll hold off on this for a second. I want to see where this one closes. If we close around 6,700 in the next few minutes, then yeah, I probably will do a little bit of a scalp. Let's look at the 5. This is like one of the few times I'll look at a 5-minute. Looks constructive here. That's the thing. It's like it doesn't look bad, so it's kind of hard to from a structural standpoint, kind of hard to do. But I will play the 30-minute there, no problem. Typically, I don't open up positions on a weekend, but this one's just had so much of an aggressive move to the upside. You can fit some nice scalps in there, I'm sure. Again, nothing to hold, nothing like that. But overall, some potential nice trades. And let's go check out. I want to go check out traditional markets and see how they did. Actually, holy shit, closing the day up. Wow, holy fuck. Okay, so where was my target? My target was 180. I'm guessing it was 181 and a half. We got down to 182, no, it was not 181. It's 281 and a half. We got down to 282. Spot 3, and then bounced off there. So hey, didn't quite hit my target. About half buck off, but that's okay. I do consider this a test of the yellow 20 exponential moving average on the weekly, and now we're gonna have a nice bounce, most likely playing back up. I'd imagine to about the 290 to 291-ish region sometime next week. This is a pretty damn good reaction over here. Very good bind on the bottom, and I do think that this one does continue a little bit higher. So I do consider this basically a target hit, although we didn't necessarily get there. It doesn't need to be perfect, but the overall area was met. And that's kind of, supplying the impetus for this bounce here. So I would be, short term looking for some upside, maybe back over to like 290 to 291-ish area looks very likely. And then we'll kind of reassess from there. Weekly is a little bit indecisive here. I would say a little bit more on the bear side, but daily wants to bounce here, so I'd feel more comfortable with that, saying something like daily wants to bounce, meaning that lower time frames want to bounce, higher time frames a little bit indecisive, slightly leaning bearish. Okay, cool. Let's go check out the other top shitcoins in Bitcoin land and see what they're doing, see if they're having any sort of follow through as well. And we have Mr. Buteroll right here. Mr. Buteroll, I should actually just start with the weekly. The weekly's been looking good for Mr. Buteroll ever since we took out 169.5. That was my big trigger for that. Now we're just kind of seeing the lower time frames slowly but surely follow through, but they are following through. And I've been bullish on this one for about this past week, and I think that that's going to be the right call. We are very likely to move up here. I think that this one wants to take a stab towards the prior high at like 190 and probably beyond. I mean, personally speaking, I think this one actually reaches for $200, especially if Bitcoin breaks up sometime in the next week. This one looking like one of the more healthy alts for sure. We do see daily Stokes still headed up. We do see weekly catching window the 21. I do like this setup. Just overall, I like this setup. Weekly Stokes still up there as well, but kind of bizarre. So there you go. As long as the daily's closing above 167.5, I like it, and I do believe that we've actually had kind of like a last test of this, and we're getting ready to move up here. You see this nice kind of like curl up. That's usually an indication that momentum's about to take over to the upside. Mrs. Litecoin over here, same sort of thing. Again, certainly not the strongest of the big three, but is following through. This is why yesterday I said, hey, it's not the strongest one, but I do think that it takes a leg up here. Well taken a leg up, and I do think that we're going to hit that like low below $80 target most likely, maybe even a little bit higher, like 80, $84. Overall, just kind of following the other leaders right now, taking a little bit of a backseat. But if Mrs. Litecoin can trade above 81.5 cents, then I would say that that opens up the doors for a move to about $90 sometime in the next like week or two. Looking constructive overall, although this is very sloppy here. Taking the better path, and as long as we're above $75 and closing daily totals above there, I like it, and I do think that we do. In my personal opinion, is that we continue higher into the 80s. Let's go check out what else we got. Let's go check out some. I don't know. Should we start with the other top shitcoins? Maybe BNB Krown. What's BNB Krown doing? Weaker here. Actually, really not participating with the rest of the market. That's not a good signal. That's actually not a good signal. Weekly's going to be the one that decides this one, though. Do we close above or below $19.30? If we close above, then probably see it bounce a little bit higher towards 21.25. If we close below, then I'm going to be aiming my cannons towards 17.25. So the stakes are high right here, but I would be waiting for the weekly to fully confirm that. Cardano, what's Cardano doing? I do think that is trying to put in a little bit of a local low here. I don't, while I do think that overall this chart is bearish, this is a very bearish chart. I do think that it tries to bounce here. So I wouldn't be getting too, while it does look weak here, I wouldn't be getting too bearish here. I'd probably be looking for a pop back up to like maybe 1100, maybe even 1150, and then probably continuation of trend. But right now, really struggling. I suppose yes. If we did take out 930 to the downside, then I'd have to say that we have continuation to the downside first and foremost. But that's I think that's the less likely thing to happen. I think that we try to consolidate this area a little bit, then move up, and then probably continue. Let's go check out what's Zcash doing. Zcash doing absolutely nothing, and kind of a similar thing to what we just looked at on Cardano. I think it's more likely that it pops back up here and tests like 60.25, but overall definitely on the weaker side for top market caps. And what's up, Imande, good to meet you, man. Pleasure to meet you, my friend. Weekly, however, very bearish. Very, very similar to Cardano. Lower time frames probably bounce it up. Higher time frames bearish. Probably get continuation back down to the prior lows. $49.5. Bcash, one of the stronger ones for sure. We do see it gonna give its first real attempt above this 200 exponential. I think that it does take it out. We're gonna see some likely similar to what we saw on Mr. Buterol, on Mr. Bcash right over here. So overall, I actually do kind of I do kind of like this setup. We do see daily Stokes still actually technically up. Looking on the weaker side, daily RSI also catching the exponential. This one wants to move up. This one wants to break this area and move back towards 350, what is this, 380? Yeah, something like that, 360 to 380. I generally say that it's bullish. Let's see, Tron Cash. What's Tron Cash doing? Again, I'd pay attention to the weekly here. It's going to be the big decider. If the weekly closes anywhere below 2.43, I'd be bearish for a move back down to like 2 cents flat. If we close above 2.43, then I'd be looking for a move back up to like 2.7. Daily looks like it wants to bounce up in the lower time frames, probably tag 2.44, and then we'll see what happens after that. But so yeah, lower time frames probably bounces back up. Higher time frames bearish. Again, it's a careful game. It's a delicate game right here. But moving averages are bearish on this one versus the dollar. Neocash wants to bounce back up, test 950, maybe 969. Let's see what the weekly looks like. Weekly looks bearish. Again, lower time frames want to bounce up, higher time frames not good at all. EOS Cash, what's EOS doing? Maybe one of the stronger ones, I'd say. Yeah, I'd say one of the stronger ones. Actually picking itself up okay here. I do think that this one actually gives another test towards 510. And that would actually set it up for a more bullish move overall. This one's a little bit more sloppy than most, but hey, as long as it maintains 480, I do think that the path of least resistance is actually to the upside, maybe 5.25 actually, back up into this region. Okay, what else we got? Mr. Ripple's Nipples, 30 cents. Okay, nice. Yeah, it did hit our 30.5 cent target yesterday. Nicely done, Mr. Ripple's Nipples. I kind of feel the same thing as I do here on most alts. Probably tries a little bit higher on lower time frames, but higher time frames, this one's just been so resilient at 28.5 cent. I wouldn't get too damn bearish on this one until it actually breaks fully 28.5 cent. I think it probably does happen over time, but it can take a long fucking time, man. And if that does happen, I'd be looking at a move towards 25 to 24 cents area. overall, Mr. Ripple's nipples, yeah, probably does give another try, maybe even at 31 cents. But this thing is just, it's been resilient in this area, but can't stay here for forever, man. Monero, what's Monero doing? Yep, one of the stronger alts as well. Actually going to be taking out the 200 exponential, I'd imagine, by end of day. It's similar to Bcash, similar to the other ones. Probably moves up to about $77. First target, second target would be somewhere right around 81.5, $82. Let's see, what about Stellar? What's Stellar doing? Stellar moving up, so getting that bounce that we spoke about yesterday. Again, this is why I don't think it's appropriate to be too bearish in this region. Looking at the weekly, we're basically having a reaction off the 200 exponential moving average. Again, this is why I have that rule that I don't care how shitty your chart looks, I don't sell that area until we actually break it. This one I do think tries a little bit higher, actually. We do see daily soaks having a fresh cross the upside, but quite weak. So I do think that it does try higher, maybe like 10 and a half cent area, something like that. But overall, I mean, it's a fucking downtrend. No two ways about it. Let's go take a look at Tether for a second. Tether, by the way, has actually completely dissipated, erased the prior discount or premium, depending upon your disposition of this, and we're basically back at parity within about 3 decimal places of it. So that's pretty damn close enough at least. Especially when the week prior we were all the way at 95.5 cent. Significant difference, right? Anyways, going back onto Mr. Bitcoin. Start to wrap this bitch up as this video has gone on long enough already, and Bitcoin laddering its way up, so I will not be taking that short here. This wants to continue more. Let's see, where would be the next logical area? I need to go back in time, and let's map out what's going on over here. Where are the big critical areas of interest? And let's see, we got this guy right here. And we got this guy right here would be the next two big ones. And where are we right now? We'll actually completely clear the first one. Then when we're at the second one right now, yeah, I'd still be cautious in this area. We can actually take the wick on this one as well if we want to be like super conservative. And I'd say maybe 6,800. What is this? 6,800? Yeah, 6,828. Yeah, something like that. Let's also do this. Let's put a fib on this whole move. Actually, this is not the way that I'm going to want to do it. Let's actually do it. Let's do something like this. I'm going to take this peak over here, starting that descending triangle, and then I'm going to go to our current low and see where we're at. And look at this. We're actually around the 618 right here. Let me actually get these with can do this with wicks or without wicks. If I do this without wicks, it'll be a little bit higher. Yeah, about 6,500. What do we got here? Yeah, about 65.27. So you can see that we are kind of around the 618, but are taking it out pretty handily right here. So, is this actually matching up with anything? I'd say less so. If we take one for the whole move, then we're actually back at the 236, to be fair. So fair enough, that would be around 7. Sorry, we're not quite there right now. We're at 7. That would be at 7,000. So again, fibs actually not, in my opinion, not working too well here. Or perhaps they are working, but we're actually just very far away from them right now, and that would be a strong signal that we're about to have a massive move. So no matter which way you cut it, I would still exercise a little bit of caution, especially on a weekend like this, as Bitcoin does approach some pretty critical levels. Like I said, volume profile, it looks to me like we probably do come back down and test the lower region of this, and that would be in confluence with where CME's close, and also in confluence with where the top trolling demand is going to be on the weekly. So yes, higher time frames still bullish. Lower time frames, I'd be going to start to get a little bit more overextended. But again, when I go down to the lower time frames, they can get overextended for a while before we actually have a major move. And looking at this right over here, this is it's just flagging out here. So again, if we do move up, if we do have another move up, I'd say 68.30ish areas where it'd be targeting. But I would really not be getting too damn greedy on a weekend. So with that said, I'm going to be signing off. I do want to wish you a very happy and relaxing and restful weekend to start your weekend on a nice Saturday. And I'll be back on tomorrow with some more video action, and take care. See you soon.